Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle of the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts,
Archlector George,
and Harrison, the Adeptus Historical.
Today will be the first of many, well, not many, a few episodes where we interview guests, and today we will be interviewing Will, aka SerSpaceman, Lord of the House of the Meme Maker subreddit, on this episode. So let's get started. Again, we want to thank everyone that's been tuning in and actually being a loyal fan, except for our parents and our siblings. We want to thank everybody.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah. We're past our parents now. We're past our family. Now we're like onto these people we don't even know. We like them better. But if we could just remind you all to just follow us on the social medias and the YouTubes, and we got stuff, pumping out there, and that we would appreciate that. So let's move on and let's introduce the man of the hour, Mr. SerSpaceman, aka Will.
Hey.
Whoa! It's crazy! Go.
Oh my God! Whoa!
I like that you use the term Lord, but I prefer I am a humble servant of the people. That
makes me suspicious.
The people do way more work on that page than I do, and it would never be anything, I can assure you, without a very active community that is just wilding out all the time. I love it.
Well, I mean, that's fine and dandy and all that, but I mean, you are the Lord, because if they infringe upon the rules, you will bring down the banhammer, will you not, Will?
Oh, not just me.
Not
just me.
All right, you delegate. I like that.
The six other members of the closed council will also. No, I gotta say, in terms of like, I think we've only ever done 2 bands. Everything, a lot of the housekeeping, it takes care of itself. People are very good about, respecting each other, and I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's a good community, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. It's very low maintenance. I don't really feel like it needs pruning. I mean, it is, there was a couple I'll call them shit kickers that were just stirring the pot constantly, and we gave them, we tried to talk to them reasonably, like, hey, come on, you can't post stuff like that. And then, they did it again, and you're like, all right, twice as goodbye, and then they never reared their ugly heads again. So it worked.
No, and that's good, and I think that speaks to the fandom, right? Because on the First Law subreddit or on the House of the Meme Maker subreddit, I haven't really personally encountered douchebags. So, like, if you have had to ban 2, and how long have you been doing House of the Meme Maker?
Ooh, we're about to hit 2 years.
That's crazy, man.
That's awesome.
It's telling me if it's been, I don't know, it's something. Never anticipated this.
SerSpaceman, Will, has supported us since the beginning. He has our very first post up, posted. I think, is it still pinned?
It might be. I think it is. I might have just unpinned it. I don't know.
You bastard!
I might have.
This episode's cancelled.
He's off. He's off.
I'm out. I'm done. That's it. You lost me.
No, but you had us pinned for way longer than we ever wanted. And
listen. I still don't know how any of this shit works. So I don't love you any more than anybody else, including myself. You got pinned by accident. Don't kid yourself. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, my lord.
Yeah, it's okay, Harrison. I'm fucking with you.
Me and Will are in the same level in terms of technology. I'm like, I don't know how to work Reddit.
Yeah, I literally don't. It was kind of funny when I was first gathering mods. Yeah, I inboxed them and I'm like, hey, I see you're pretty active. Do you want to be a mod? And they're like, what does that entail? And I'm like, brother, I have no idea.
I'm just giving them out like candy, dog.
Putting on my aviators, about to fire up like a fighter jet with no clue what the buttons do. I'm like, fuck it, let's go.
I'm gonna Top Gun this bitch. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, highway to the danger zone. That's how I felt.
Will, is there anything about yourself that you'd like to share? Like, how old you are, what you do, or is that uncomfortable for you? I can cut it
I'm gonna give all my data out for people to put together. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like
security number, please.
I'm like in my late 20s.
Okay.
I teach middle school, so you can kind of see,
tough, bro.
You can see where a lot of this. This is an outlet for me. I don't know. I'm pretty like I've always been kind of involved in like I majored in political science. I've always been kind of civically involved, wherever I'm living at the time, and I also coach high school sports on the side. So it's busy, keeps me busy.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's good, man.
That's great, man. Someone's got to teach middle school because most
yeah, I'm like seconds from running out the door. No, I'm just kidding. I really do love it. It's tough right now. I mean, you get all the changes and stuff with COVID and whatever. Like we're feeling the aftershocks of all that. So, but I think sticking with it's worth it. There's a lot of opportunities that are unique. So,
that's good.
That's awesome.
And you're on the East Coast, right?
Oh man, I'm on the East Coast, baby.
That's it. The only coast.
The only coast. Yep.
The only time zone.
I'm a humble Bay Stater. I mean, when you tell people, like, oh, where you're from? You're like, oh yeah, I'm from like Boston. Yeah, I'm not. I don't live in Boston. I live like outside the city. So I'm not. I don't. People get mad when you say that. You're not from Boston. You're from like Somerville. Blah, 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 blah. You don't even live in the city. Do you know where my fucking family's from? Like that kind of shit. So I don't even bother. I just tell them, I'm like,
my family runs the city.
I'm like an hour outside of town. I'm like closer to Providence, Rhode Island than I am anything else. I didn't grow up down here. I grew up like north of the city, so I'm a North Shore kid. Shout out to the people that know what that means. You can, whoever's listening, we can commiserate. We can commiserate. Whatever North Shore people are out there slamming, slinging, sucking down roast beefs and fucking going to Kelly's and shit. They'll get it.
Yeah, I'm lost. I'm like, what?
I have no idea what any of that meant.
I'm like, who's Kelly?
It's a different culture, bro.
Different world, man. Yep.
So, hey guys, we're actually editing this section or this whole episode later on. I'm doing the editing for once, so sorry if the episode sounds like shit. But I am doing the best meme of the week. That's kind of a breaking up here. We got to keep up the consistency. George will post it all the website and all that, blah 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 blah. But the best meme of the week for this week, as far as I can tell, was something that was only posted a day ago, so yesterday. And it's called Throwback Meme by user Curlish Grambungle. I think that's the first time he's been on our Best Meme of the Week, or otherwise known as His August Fucking Majesty, which I've seen multiple times. So shout out to you, man, for posting it. What it is when one of the boys misses the boat to England because he's going on a journey with the Magus. And it's... I mean, honestly, you'd have to see it. It fits unusually well. I don't know why. I don't know who thought, oh, that's what I see. I see Brent, Gyllenhaal, and Caspa. But it's kind of like that Spider-Man villain meme that's super duper old and doesn't even funny me describing it. So I'm going to get back to the real content. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Will, I keep wanting to say SerSpaceman because I've been saying for so long and hype for you coming on. But Will, what we asked you, what kind of thing you want to talk about. You started the House of the Meme Maker, and obviously you've been a part of the Reddit, the first little subreddit. What kind of insight do you have for us when it concerns those two aspects of the internet?
Oh, well, I read a lot of other fantasy. I read I don't know. I took it like a long time off reading. I think I finished The Song of Ice and Fire in like 2014, and then I took like probably honestly like 4 years off of reading fantasy. And I think around 2018 I picked up King Killer by Pat Rothfuss, and I read those two books. And they're really, if you haven't checked, you should check them out. If you haven't,
I love those books.
Yeah, they're really fucking good. They're not done. That's the. I have a
They'll
couple
never be
friends that
done.
have I have a couple friends that have serious problems with series that aren't done. But I think that if you don't care and there's so much other stuff to read too. If you don't care, like you gotta check those out. That's what kind of like led me on a nosedive. And so I read all the Wheel of Time books between like 2018. I guess I started them right after I finished King Killer. So 2019, and then into COVID, like right around. I finished Wheel of Time right before everything locked the fuck down because I couldn't get library books for a while. But I had started reading some Sanderson in the middle of that because I knew he wrote the last 3 Wheel of Time books, and a buddy of mine had loaned me a copy of Mistborn like 8 years ago. So I was like, oh, I got to pick this thing up and finally read it and give it the fuck back to the kid because poor guy. And then that's
another good recommendation.
Yeah, at this point, I've read every printed Cosmere thing except for White Sand because you can't find the goddamn omnibus anywhere, and I'm too. He's sorry, Brando, but he's retconning like half the stuff from the first volume. That's or the first, I guess for the first volume that's out. He's retconned a bunch of it, so it'll be edited and then re-released. I'll read it then.
Yeah,
but
how do you think that Joe Abercrombie stands up to like other fantasy authors?
Oh, so this is where I'm going with this. Is I was reading. I read all these things like around the same time. So I got recommended First Law probably like in like 2016. Shout out to my buddy Chris. He was begging me to read it, and I did not pick it up until like probably late 2019. I read Blade itself, and I got stuck like a lot of people do. I've been hearing this a lot, is that people like don't know where the plot's going because there isn't really a plot. And
This thing's happening. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I like it, but what the fuck?
Yeah, I didn't go back to Before They Are Hanged until like late 2019, and then I started picking everything up. But I really I finished it. I finished it all in 2020. I think he stacks up. Like I've noticed this on the First Law subreddit. When I made House of the Meme Maker, there were you can quote my numbers on me or whatever. There were like 7,500 subs to the First Law subreddit, and now there's like 15K or something. It's
been growing, man. It's been growing.
Yeah, it's been growing, and so I think he stacks up. I mean, I think of it this way: like you wouldn't compare like I like apple pie and I like lasagna. I wouldn't say like lasagna is better than apple pie. Like you can't really. I don't know. I don't like comparing fantasy authors about how they're like better or worse than each other. I think there's so much to be said and there's so much conversation to have around them. I think like when I was reading First Law, it was really helpful to read something a little more light. Like I was reading Mistborn. I read Warbreaker. I read Elantris, and then I got into Stormlight like maybe about a year and a half ago, and I finished all 4 of those. But having like Mistborn, which is Sanderson's writing style is a little more. It's not gritty. Like it's a little more lighthearted.
Yeah.
But it is serious. Like I think George, you said you've dove into some Cosmere.
Yeah. He has that serious aspect to it, but it's definitely nowhere near as much as
there's no squelching and there's no crunching of bones. Sometimes there is, but there's no squelching and there's no sex. Like Sanderson doesn't really do. It's not. I'm not gonna like chalk it up to him.
God, I love the squelch.
I do too. I like you can squelch through the mud. You can a hammer pounding into somebody's head can squelch. There's so many different sex can squelch. There's so much great squelching to be had in the First Law. Really, it's like chef's just beautiful imagery there. It's really disgusting as hell. But I think Abercrombie is. I hope that he gets. I mean, I think he is. I think it's like people are. I think this is what happens: is people read now that House of the Dragons out, people are reading like Martin, and then they run out of Martin, and they're like, "Oh, who do I?" I see this all the time. People are like, "Oh, I like this fantasy. Who should I read next?" And people are like, "Oh, you should check out this. You should check out that." I think there's some must reads. Right now, I'm reading some Robin Hobb. I read the.
I've heard of her.
What the hell do they call that trilogy?
Assassin's Apprentice, or the Farseer trilogy.
Farseer, there we go. Farseer, that's the word. Yeah, the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb.
Okay.
Heard of Robin Hobb.
I finished that this summer, and I moved on to the Live Ship Traders, which is her next She's got like 14 books. I'm never gonna finish this shit. I'm gonna be in this forever.
Christ, 14. Good lord.
Yeah, they're not as like
I'd
ponderous.
say nowhere near as much, but they're very much more depressing.
Yeah, they're pretty. Yeah. Oh my god, Farseer was like pretty grim. Like I was like, damn. Like wow.
Yeah,
When I
like
read
the entire last half of Assassin's Quest is just depressing as fuck.
brutal.
It's like,
Yeah,
I can't read this anymore.
yeah. I was like, God, I still have like 400 pages left. Like, can we like have one good thing happen? Like, no, I think it's cool. I think it's not grimdark like that. Like, I think in a lot of times in First Law, like people's like no good deed goes unpunished. But I think in Hobbes' series, like a lot of people's mistakes like people make mistakes constantly and they fucking pay for them. Like they're just constantly making bad decisions. And you're like, why the fuck would he do that? And then he like, he'll like, it's centered. The first one centers around this one kid and he's way out of his depth like the whole time. Like he's never good at anything, which is kind of cool. You usually get the fantasy trope of like somebody being, godly at like even in First Law, you get like Pharaoh's just like a beastly archer and like Logan's this like unparalleled fighter. Like they don't really like, I don't know, they do get hurt, but they don't like get their asses handed to them. And that's what you can get in Farseer is like the main kid just gets his ass handed to him all the time. And that's not a spoiler or anything. It's just like, go read the book. Like kid gets
that is just the way it goes.
Yeah, kid gets his ass kicked.
Poor Fitz.
But I think what I was kind of looking at, like I don't know. I've been active on Reddit for a long time, but I kind of let it. I wasn't for a while when I wasn't reading, and then when I got back into it, when I read like King Killer, the only place that there was like King Killer discourse was Tumblr, so I hopped on Tumblr, and then I got the fuck out of there, and I.
You're like, fan.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, and a lot of Kvoth. I hate that name. Kvoth fan art. Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna move to Reddit.
What was that?
I'm gonna say it. It's spelled Kvothe. It's like the most useless name for a main character. Kvoth. Okay. I gotta have another sip of my beer. I can't. My mouth tastes bad saying that.
Is it worth my time or energy learning about this or no?
You should. I think you should read King Killer. I think it's such a different.
Oh no, for sure. I heard of that and I would like to read it. I'm just that Kvoth thing is what.
Yeah, you should just keep it in your head. Probably it's a cursed. It's a cursed phoneme, that kva sound. You don't do that. We don't do that.
All right.
So when I got back onto Reddit, like I kind of fired up. I don't know. I like forgot my fucking username, so I like made a new one, and I was looking around, and I kind of like finished Wheel of Time, and I was like, oh shit, like there's a meme subreddit for this. And I was like, that's pretty awesome. Like it's Wetlander humor is like. I'm pretty active. I was pretty active on them. I haven't memed Wheel of Time in a long time. It's been a few years. But when the show was out, I was on it. And then there's one for Stormlight and I guess the Cosmere in general for Brandon Sanderson. It's called Creme Posting, and it is like those two subs are like hyperactive, like they're like crazy active. And I was like, oh fucking, there's got to be something for First Law. And so I went on the First Law sub, and I was like poking around. I was like, there's got to be a fucking meme page for this, right? This shit is just too good. Like this is too memeable.
It's fucking hilarious. How is there not?
And so there wasn't one. And I was like, well, what if I do it? And it was like the worst decision of my life because now I'm on a fucking podcast in my basement. Oh god, I'm just staring at.
It might be the best decision of your life.
I'm staring at my hands. I'm like,
hey,
there's like the ringing in my ears. Yes, Harrison.
Well, I'll tell you a secret. We're all in our basement right now.
Yeah. No, I know.
Actually, I'm in an attic.
Yeah, I can sense it. Yeah, I can sense it. My wife's upstairs, like grading paper. She's like, "Where are you doing the podcast?" I was like, "Basement." She's like, "Perfect. I'm gonna work in the living room." I was like, "This is it, huh?" No,
you made it.
But I remember like, I guess this feeds into like the dynamic between House of the Meme Maker and the First Law sub. I think it's like chilled way out now, but initially trying to get like attention for the page, like I was cross posting a little bit, and they about, I don't know, like 2 years ago, they did not like memes on the sub. They were like, this is not a place for shit posting. Like, do not post your shit here. And it was like, yeah.
Yeah, in all respect to the First Law Reddit, who is the central page for our content, they do sometimes they do have certain rules, and respectfully, we do 100%. Follow them, and,
yeah,
and like we follow them and everything. But they do have certain rules, like no AI art, no memes. They allow it sometimes, but at the same time, they're like, don't do that ever again. Which is fine, but it also it's nice to have House of the Meme Maker to have. That we can go to, basically just post whatever the fuck we want.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, whatever shit you want to dump, just take your shit. We're like the First Law toilet.
Great, and that's where we shine.
What does Logan say when he's in Agile? He's like, pipes under the ground. Yeah, that's what we are. The plumbing that like runs all the refuse of the First Law fandom goes right through our pipes. And
you are doing a great job, Will, of talking yourself up. I swear.
I really feel like the refuse right now. It feels great.
No, I'm just. But no, it was. I don't know. Like trying to. I did cross-post a couple, and they were pretty bullshit about it, and I didn't do it again. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do that again. So what I kind of did was, whenever some poor dumb idiot would post a meme on the First Law sub, I'd comment and be like, hey, you gotta this belongs over here. This is where it belongs. And I think that was. I've never like interacted with any of the First Law subreddit mods, so I don't know how they like. I don't know how they feel about me.
I mean, they're nice guys. I think they really like House of them. I think I could be wrong, but I feel like one of them have even posted on whenever somebody posts a meme, they'll be like, "Hey, you should actually take this over to the
and I like that. Like I can be that repository for the waste and the dregs. I'm just kidding. I love it. No,
for the fun shit, dude.
Yeah, but I think that it's been a handy like, and I started seeing people do it once I was up to like maybe 500 subs. Like people started like going and doing that for me and being like, oh, like there's a meme page that you can post on. Here's the link to it, and it's like then it just kind of spitballed, and now we're at like 2,500 subs, and it's like. I think there's, I think there's a good relationship where like the First Law guys can keep their subreddit free of like clog ups of memes and shit posting, and we can have the funny shit. That's what I made it. I made it to have a good time. Like I
mean, let's be honest,
we all thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, George. Thank you.
It's genuinely one of my favorite subreddits. Like I look on that every single day.
I do. It's like my morning. It's the morning ritual. I don't shit myself in bed, but I do check House of the Meme Maker to see what's up. I'm not like screaming for Barnum through the door.
Barnum!
I love Harrison's screams. It's my favorite shit ever. Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, fucking flatheads. Like that. So good. So good.
So
go
Will, ahead. Question for you. So whenever like the new trilogy came out, because that's more modern, how do you think that affected like Reddit and the internet as a whole, on how people reacted? Do you think some of it was more like kind of a Star Wars reaction where they were like, oh, I don't like this because this isn't what I read originally? Or was it like a genuine decline in
you really want me to dig in, huh?
I know it's a serious question.
I have thought about this because I don't know, I'm one of those people that like I'll read something and I'll like sit there and marinate on it, and then like I'll have my own thoughts, but they're nebulous. Like I wouldn't like go and write about it. Like I wouldn't go and sit down and be like, oh, I thought this and this, because I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't like set it down. I'm a person that thinks that you're allowed to change your opinion on shit, like with context and whatever. So I don't like. I'm not gonna like put my like immediate thoughts down to pen and paper. So I think what I thought about, I will say like a little hatred. I mean, I read them all pretty quick, but I had to wait for Wisdom of Crowds, so I had a lot of time to. And I did do all the audiobooks, I think twice before Wisdom of Crowds came out. I didn't get to do a full reread,
my man.
which I Yeah, I didn't get to do a full reread, but no, I think like when I first read A Little Hatred, I was there's a little bit of a culture shock. Like you're going from it's like a 20-year time jump, right? So you're like there's gonna be new shit, and I really like that Joe took that step to like shuffle some of the old characters off of the playing field and like open it up to a new group. Like I think that keeps everything fresh. Like you're not rehashing shit. Like I think a show like The Walking Dead, right, where like God, I can't be talking about this, but like there's people that are on that they have been on that show for like it's on the 11th season. They've been on that shit for like I'll give you like Maggie for example. Hopefully nobody's mad that I'm spoiling the fucking Walking Dead right now. If anyone out there is still watching it, like kudos on you. I quit after the beginning of 10. I just couldn't do it. I stuck with it that long. It's shocking.
Jesus.
It's kind of like how much can you put these people through? Like they just lose shit constantly, and I'm like I'm glad that we're not looking at like Logan doing like the same fucking arc again.
Yeah.
Like I think there's a few things that are better, and I think there's a few things that are worse. I think that like I think you guys mentioned it when you guys did your full Blade itself review, but there's definitely some like clunky dialogue in Blade itself. And that's gone. Like there is the dialogue in
It's
the
so clean.
in the Age of Madness is crisp as fuck. Like you could take that as a movie script and you wouldn't need to do a ton to it. Like that could be you could speak that as lines. That's how Pacey does it so well, I think, is he's like it's like he's on TV. Like, and he is a TV voice actor. Like I think like he just treats it like he's on TV. And you just do that. I think in terms of like plot, I think a lot of people were, and this is I think Star Wars is a little different from this. I think Disney punted the fucking football on Star Wars pretty bad. And this is just me. I never watched Rise of Skywalker. I honestly don't think I will, judging by like things that people said about it. I don't usually let that deter me from watching something, but I just
No man, I get it. Like I didn't watch it in theaters either.
Yeah,
I watched it later on because a friend said I kind of enjoyed it, and I didn't really, but it's fine.
Yeah.
What about you, George, Jeff? Did you guys watch Rise of Skywalker in theaters?
I've watched 10 minutes and then I gave up.
I was with a group of friends, and I was like, all right. Just so everyone knows, I am not like a Star Wars guy. I got into it in recent years because a couple of my best friends are into it.
Because it's fucking cool, bro.
It's cool. Hey, chill out. Jesus Christ, Harrison, you're defensive.
Hey, bro. Hey,
down boy, down.
Heel. Anyway, I didn't see The Force Awakens in theaters. That came like by the time I was getting into Star Wars, that already came out, and I watched it. I was like, oh, okay, it's all right, it's decent. I watched the original trilogy as a kid, so I rewatched it. I was like, oh yeah, it's cool. Obviously, CGI and some things it's like clunky, but you can see that it's still a good movie through and through. And the prequels were, I mean, those things were reviled back then, and there's a lot wrong with them. But in my older age and watching them, I'm like, okay, I could see where this kind of works, I guess. But then, like, The Force Awakens was okay. It was okay for me.
Yeah.
And then The Last Jedi, I was just like, to be honest with you, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I walked out of there and I was like, that was an average ass movie. Like me and my boys, and like, listen, if anyone's familiar with New Jersey, we grew up in Elizabeth, and so we were like, that movie was just fucking average as fuck. What the fuck? It's like, and like, these are hood kids, and they're talking about Star Wars, and like, yo, what? Like, I thought this shit was all hype, and it was like. And I know that director, Rian Johnson, and I like him. Knives Out, Brick.
Oh, yeah.
He's great. But it felt like for Star Wars, he was just subverting tropes just for the sake of subverting tropes. And that's where it doesn't go well. In my opinion, that's all. And you can disagree with me. It's America, free, country, land of the free and the brave and all that.
Hey,
but,
Jeff, I hate to destroy this, but I think a good portion of our listeners aren't even from America.
All right. Well,
you say what now?
There's
Sorry.
a
What
what?
do you mean not from
Sorry,
America?
sorry.
Wait.
You're right. I'll fix this. I know George is the sole expat on the face of this planet, but America is Earth.
Wait, would
America.
wait, hold on. Wouldn't expat require George to have lived in America and been born in America and then moved to the UK?
God damn it, Jeff. You fucked it
We'll
up
call
again.
him. We'll call him Father. He's the
This
only
is gonna
father.
be a bitch
Whoa.
to edit.
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
Well, I think that's the first time in my life that I've ever been described as a foreigner.
Yeah. I am
Oh,
drunk. I am
George,
drunk. And you need
you
to
fucking-
accept-
No, I'm drunk too.
Okay.
I'm drunk
all right,
too.
good.
I think
Yeah.
we're all drunk, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm
my
not. I'm
point-
having a
my
cup of
point-
tea.
Oh, look at
Shut the
George
fuck
being
up,
better
George.
than us. Look at George looking down on us from his high horse. Okay. Anyway, fucking
anyway.
Last Jedi was average, and Rise of Skywalker, I was just like, I'm so confused. Fuck this. Rogue One was great, whatever. Oh, other stuff is cool, but in terms of Star Wars, I like Star Wars. It'd be cool, but Disney has been weird with Star Wars. I will say that. Now, going
Mis-
back to First Law.
So, Will, how do you think the First Law online, like whether it be your page or the First Law page or another place of the internet, and just overall popularity, how do you think that's kind of evolved over time? Because you've kind of been at the forefront of it for a little while now. Seeing how many followers have joined the First Law page or the House of the Meme Maker. I mean, and it's kind of seeing we've gotten a lot more people jumping on board with the First Law, which is great. Probably for the same reason you said earlier. But how do you think that has actually changed over time? Whereas First Law was kind of like a more obscure, whereas in the past few years, I think it's blown up quite a bit. What do you think?
Man, if the First Law subreddit doubling over the last 2 years is any indicator, I think that what you get is the blade itself came out in 1999, right? Am I on that?
2007.
No.
2005.
Okay, 2005. But he started writing he wrote the whole trilogy together, right? So he must have started writing in 1999, right? That's so there I am. I knew there was a number.
I think
was
he was
pretty
writing the First Law trilogy around the same time that George R. R. Martin was writing Game of Thrones.
Okay, so
early 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I think
wait,
yeah, really, for real.
From what I've seen of interviews and things like that, definitely that kind of time scale.
He was reading First Law. He was reading Game of Thrones at the same time he was thinking of his own story, basically, which is around the late 1990s. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he took inspiration because I know he did,
but he was doing it at the same time.
Because
Together.
Interesting.
Watch Joe Abercrombie will come on here and be like, "Hey guys," he'll say it by name. He'll say all of our names. And be like, actually, this is what happened.
So all right, anyways. So I think if that's any indicator, I mean, I think what Game of Thrones probably came out in 97 maybe. I would say 96.
The year I was born.
Hey. So I think I will say this. I think that people kind of, I'm not going to discount what anybody says about Star Wars. I think that Star Wars, they did not have a roadmap they didn't have any, J.J. Abrams does this. J.J. Abrams is the mystery box king. So it's he sets up a bunch of shit in Force Awakens that my geek ass was freaking out over. I saw the movie 3 times in theaters and I was like, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, man, that was just a retread of the original Star Wars. This is just the same. They blow up a bunch of plucky rebels, blow up a big fucking ball in space. Spaceballs. So exactly. So I give a lot of credence to that. I think the general consensus among people that don't like Age of Madness is that it wasn't what they expected. I read a lot on the First Law sub of people who are like, oh, I can't believe Calder died like that. I didn't want him to die like that. It's yeah, I really didn't either, but he seemed fucking a ghost of himself the whole trilogy. And he even still, he does have the last laugh. Spoiler alert for all the late spoiler alert. This is a spoiler episode,
this is a
right?
full spoiler episode,
yeah, never mind.
right?
Forget it.
You're good.
But he does have the last laugh. He says to Ricky, he goes, you don't see everything. And it's okay, I don't know what people are fucking mad about. To my mind, I'm this is the thing about Joe obviously has a roadmap. Like what I thought about Wisdom of Crowds was like I was kind of expecting it to be this like big crescendo, and I'm like, part of me is glad that it wasn't, because it means that there's like so much ground, like open ground for like whatever happens next. There's just so many threads that he can weave in a lot of. He's the weaver. He's the fucking Joe is the weaver. Joe's the fucking weaver. That's
Joe
it.
is the weaver.
That's a secret.
Weaver, yeah, Weaver confirmed. Joe's the weaver.
George R. R. Martin's the gardener, and Joe's the weaver.
Yes, exactly. So he has a plan, and he's definitely like, I don't know. I don't keep up with every word the guy says. Like there's definitely people that do that. But he's working on he's working on the Devils, right? Is that what he's doing right now?
Yeah.
So that's going to be something not connected to First Law. And I think that when he's kind of like, I don't know, he's also got that like Shattered Sea trilogy, right? I haven't read that yet.
That's definitely not connected at all.
No. I know. I'd like to read that. I just think it's not shocking that he wants to work on another project real quick. I think he's like slowly tying together things that he wants to put together, and then
I think that's it. Like, and I think we'd all, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think I'd much rather he takes his time and actually writes what he
100%.
wants to write, rather than getting ahead of himself like so many authors do.
100%.
And then we end up waiting.
I don't want to be like self-aggrandizing too much here, but he's inspired us, right? We would never have made this. The whole thing is about Joe Abercrombie. And so, us being here, Joe, let us fill in the gap a little bit. We'll take over for a bit. We'll make the content.
Yeah, we'll be your what's that? George R. R. Martin's ghostwriters are Elio Garcia and Linda Antonsen. We'll be the Elio and Linda for you.
Yeah, we'll
be
make
your
lore
lore
keepers.
keepers.
We'll make the YouTube videos. We'll make the memes. We'll make all the shit. You fucking take your time, complete the series as it should be, and we got your back, man.
Yeah, we'll boost your shit. Yeah, we'll boost your shit on TikTok. That's what we'll do.
TikTok.
So I think Wisdom of Crowds, for a lot of people, and for myself included, was like, I remember like putting down. I pre-ordered Wisdom of Crowds, and it showed up like the day it fucking released, and I was like, I read it in probably a collective like 20 hours. Like it was, I inhaled it, and I remember at the very end, like that moment, kind of the mask drops is when Leo stabs Lord Marshal Forrest, right? Yeah, it's really and I remember it literally just snowballs from there. I think so. So Brandon Sanderson, there's a term for when he ends his books. It's called the Sanderlanche, and it's like an avalanche of shit happens right at the end of the book. Like it's one of the coolest. It's one of the coolest things. Like everything that you, and maybe things that you didn't even think would happen, everything's going to happen at once, and you just buckle your seatbelt, bucko, because you're on a fucking ride. And that's kind of what happened with Wisdom of Crowds. Like everything just popped off at once. Like all the shit that was boiling. Because it is, I think the pacing of Wisdom of Crowds is weird. I think like you spend a lot of fucking time in Adua Joe must love the French Revolution, right? He must love the Russian Revolution.
Yeah.
He must love those two things, because as a history teacher, I sit there and I'm like, oh, okay. Like there's
They're
your
impactful,
fucking
but Jesus.
yeah. I'm like there's my Jean Paul Marat, and there's my what's his fucking face, the crazy guy from Robespierre. Thank you. There's my Robespierre. And, thanks.
I mean, definitely that connection, because I think the cover for the Wisdom of Crowds is literally the painting of the storming of the Bastille.
That makes sense. I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it happens really fucking fast. Like Orso does not get never a moment's peace, right? He does not, when he gets back to Adua, everything just all hell breaks loose.
Fuck yeah.
And it's like what I didn't love. Now I remember thinking this when I opened the book, and then when I was about midway through the book, I didn't love that Joe put a Little People chapter like maybe 50 pages into the book.
I
felt like
think it gets to the point where it doesn't feel earned, I think.
Yeah, I felt like I needed more time to like fucking marinate on Staffenbeck, right? Like Trouble with Peace is probably my second favorite. I think my favorite.
It's my favorite.
I think my favorite is Best Served Cold, and I think my second favorite is The Trouble with Peace.
They're close, bro.
Yeah, it's if you had a gun to my head, I'd probably just shit my pants and not be able to answer. But and then I'd get shot in the head. But I'd like. That's what my 2 picks would be like. I Best Served Cold opened the series up for me. I really like when I read the first Law trilogy. I think I was at a spot where I was like, I mean, Last Argument of Kings was fucking incredible, and I was like, Jesus, that is different from anything that I've ever read. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to just go get Best Served Cold right now. I'm going to read it right now. And I read it, and I did not know what I was walking into. And I was like, fuck, this is good. I was like, this is. And then I read the Heroes, and I was like, what? I was like, what is happening? Like, what? And then I read Red Country, and I don't think so. I mean, there's certain things that like Sanderson does that can be considered like fantasy Western or whatever. And I like Stephen King has like the Gunslinger and all this shit. Like there's all kinds of like, I never read any like Stephen King fantasy, so don't like quote me on that. But like fantasy Western's been done, sci-fi Western's been done, but like there's something about a first Law Western that is so, I love like the Clint Eastwood Westerns, like the spaghetti Westerns and even the mostly the revisionist shit. And I think that's what Red Country pulls from is like Unforgiven is like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
He talked about it. He talked about how like that was the big influence. And
and
Unforgiven is so fucking ridiculous. Oh,
I went into this shit blind and I was reading it and I was like, this is like Unforgiven. I was like, this is just like, it was like Unforgiven. It was like, True Grit, very, very true gritty with a kid. You got a couple kids, you're looking for whatever, you're hunting somebody. And also very like 310 to Yuma-y. Like I was like, this is where I'm at. I love this shit. And a lot of people give Red Country a lot of guff. And I think it's all fair stuff.
I think what it is I think is how Westerns translate onto the page.
Yeah, they're slow.
Especially when like to be honest with you, Red Country, like I like fantasy. I am not well versed in the different novels and authors. Like I've ever since like First Law, like I like doing this podcast and everything, I've only learned of like the King Killer Chronicles and I think it's called The Gentleman Bastards by Scott Lynch.
Yeah, I haven't done that one yet.
Yeah, I heard that's great. Like,
they're good. I enjoy them.
Right, and I've heard of all these authors. I haven't gotten to them yet. Like literally, it's like A Song of Ice and Fire was my introduction to fantasy.
Mine too. Yeah.
Right. If you're not counting Harry Potter, because like I don't know what you call that, like young adult fiction, whatever the fuck. Like then
YA.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Basically, you initialized what I said.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Harrison.
Yeah,
that's
that
why
beautiful.
you get 50 lashes. That is why you get 50 lashes.
To the camps.
To the camps. And
that was awesome.
But I do realize that like for me, like there's a different like tonality between like Westerns and fantasy, and then when you combine them, it's maybe it's like an incongruence. And I know you said like it's been done before, Will. You said that sci-fi Westerns and fantasy Westerns have been done before, but I'm not aware of that. So I guess that's where I thought it came from, that initial like resistance to Red Country. But the more I read Red Country, man, the more it just fucking sinks in.
Yeah, I listen specifically when I do yard work. I listen to the standalones. That's my fucking
really?
Really? So I have this image of myself like scrubbing our front deck, like our front porch, to the scene where like the dragon people are trying to like sneak down into Square Deal. Beacon, thank you. And and they get blown away with this is the master of lore right here. Guy's on fire.
That's
don't say that.
I know it's Harrison. George has been. George.
What's going on here?
All right,
This usurpation will not be allowed.
if you want to call history of the real world lore, then by all means. But
no, that's cool. That's true. George is much more educated than all of us combined, I think.
but I have this image of myself like scrubbing my front porch to the dragon people trying to sneak into Beacon and getting blasted by a fucking cannon, and Casca being like, "Oh, there they are!" Like that's. I have like a bunch of like I'll be doing like random tasks, and I have like images associated with certain chapters in the standalones. It's so funny.
Yes.
But that really broke it open for me, and I think people are like clamoring for more fantasy, and like Sanderson writes fast, but I think like you need a break from some of the. Sometimes it's like it's not sugary sweet, but sometimes it's like the
it can be a bit too much.
Yeah, the stakes aren't like Stormlight's a little different, but I think in like I don't know. It's such a good. He's got such a good balance between like being super like grim, but there's usually a happy ending, right? Like Sanderson's pretty big on like people, doing the right thing they're gonna eke out a victory somehow, and it's not.
Yeah.
It might not be the victory that you want, and it might not look the way you want. You might have had to sacrifice. There's always sacrifice, right? Like that's a good. You got to learn and you got to work, and there's always no one ever gets shit for free in Sanderson's work, which is good. I like that. So even though it is like a little more lighthearted and like there is like some glimmers of hope all the time, there's a lot of hope. People have to work for it, and there's some shitty fucking parts. Some people go through some shit in Sanderson stuff, but I think like First Law is a really cool like. I don't know, like if you're looking for something different, like it's just the place to go. Like you get everything. Like it's not. I don't know. People call it grimdark. And I think it is, but I think it's incredibly human, right? Like
For sure.
everybody, you can relate. I think it's the most relatable fantasy, right? Like you can relate to fucking anybody. Like there's just shit they say.
It.
Yeah, there's just shit they say, and you're like, I felt that before. Like Dogman being like, "Fuck, but I need to piss" is like every. That's my image. Like, dude, no joke. Like I was coaching this weekend, and I coach cross country, and I was like by the start line with my kids, and my like guts tightened up. And my like bladder, I thought I was gonna piss my pants, and I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm not running, dude. Chill the fuck out." Like I remember all the time, like me and the coach I work with were always like, "Hey, you gotta like make sure you hit the bathroom like an hour before you run. You can't be like on the line and then be like, oh my god, I gotta pee, and then try to go. Like it's not gonna work." But I remember like every time, like getting to the line, like being like guts and knots, and like having to like, oh, I gotta piss one more time, Jesus Christ, and then I'm running my race uncomfortable, and it's like it was always like that. So when Dogman's like every time he goes to a fight, he's like, damn it, but he needed to piss. Like I felt that. Like preach, bro, preach.
I understand what you're saying. Like when I wrestled in throughout my school years, same thing. Before my wrestling meets, like out of nowhere, just a sudden like a weight in my stomach. It was like, oh, me and the bathroom are gonna have to be really good friends for about the next 20 minutes. Give me a second.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
every time.
It's insane. It's
I think
insane.
part of that too is like it's so funny, like coaching now. Like I never liked running. Like, and so that whole like segment where Giselle is like trying to train, and Gorst is running like 10 miles a day. Like, dude, like I get it. Like Giselle doesn't like it, and I didn't like it either. But I did it for the team, and I was decent. So it was like, but like I don't know. I got kind of. I guess I got like pressured into it. Not pressured into it, but like everybody I knew was doing it, and like my dad was a freak runner growing up, and so like I don't think he could have ever envisioned a world where I wasn't on the track team, and I didn't love the act of running. I still don't.
It
But
sucks.
but I know. But now I know the sport, and like I can go coach it. But I get. I don't know. It's just so fucking relatable. Like there's so many little things that happen, and you're like, oh my god, that's like this fucking time that I don't know.
And I think that's why so much of the First Law is so enjoyable to read, because you read it and, like you said, it's extremely
human.
relatable. You're like, I know what that's like, and that's it. Whenever you look back on your own interactions or actions on things, and you realize, oh, it's just like that person in the First Law did it. It kind of helps you like learn a little bit about yourself,
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
it's bad or good.
That's true. That's true. It reminds, like, we literally just the episode that's coming out prior to this, we just talked about how we've all been there at a dinner table where there's an argument going on between the heads of the table. We're talking about like Cornel and Baez, and before
Yep.
they're hanged,
Yep.
and brother Longfoot is literally just like, this is great food, and then like they're all just staring daggers, and he's just like, never.
I
Mind?
didn't say. Yep.
Like,
So
and
those
we've
big-
all
yeah.
been there. We've all
Those
been
big, yeah. It's
Yeah,
those
and
big
that-
family, like it's those big family fucking Christmas dinners where everybody's like
exactly.
screaming at each other in the kitchen about like nonsense, and then you all go sit down and you're like, well,
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that we talked about this before. We know that like Joe, he had he had undergone some education in regards to like psychology and like the human condition, and it's very evident in the writing, I believe. And
Oh,
I
100%.
think George and Harrison, Will, you might agree as well. And there are plenty of times where moments where even like I'm reading something and I'm like, oh, that reminds me of something that happened in my childhood that I haven't thought about in 20 years because I just repress everything. Oh, great, yay! Because as a man, no one's taught me to whatever. Anyway,
yeah.
but
I think
and
I think
I feel like these kind of books, they're cathartic in a lot of ways. They really are.
yeah, I think too. Like, I don't know. Like, I did a grad program for teaching in like I guess I graduated with my degree in like 2017, and
Okay, pimp.
I just like oh yeah, and thank you, and
You're welcome.
I like went looking for. I don't know. Like I did like a practicum kind of, and I like taught as part of the program for a year and got my degree, and then I decided to like stay at that school.
Mhm.
And I just I don't know, it was private and I Catholic and like there was a lot of shit going on that I just did not agree with. And they gave me a lot. The school closed. Like I could tell that it was kind of on its way out. And so I wanted to get into public school as fast as I could.
Mhm.
And man, that switch was not easy. And so I think like part of what was so like I guess helpful from First Law is like I just it was kind of like I don't know, like I left that private school and then I had to like I was a classroom teacher for 2 years and I had to go like sub. Like I had to go be like a day-to-day sub making like no money. And I had like took kind of a big risk. Like I met my wife in grad school and we like started dating. And so we wanted to like move out and get a place together. And so we got a place like where we thought would be like somewhere halfway between where she was currently working and where I might work. And it like I didn't get a job. Like I went the whole summer looking for a job. I didn't get a job. And this was like fall of 2018. So I had to go like day sub, like elementary school
Mhm.
and like landscape and work at Trader Joe's and like all this shit. And like I eventually like got back. I got like a couple long-term sub jobs, but they would end and then I'd be like right back at square one. I'd be like, fuck, like now it's just not, it didn't feel like it was going anywhere. And I
Mhm.
think like fantasy in general, like having something to like reach for, like, oh, I want to finish this series. Oh, I want to that was very like grounding in reality. Like I read Wheel of Time on my fucking like lunch breaks at Trader Joe's. Like it was pretty,
Mm.
it was a cool spot. Like, I don't know. And I could like, cause I was subbing, like I wasn't like, sometimes I'd be proctoring a test. And so I just like whip out a book and be like, you know what, I'm just going to walk around the room reading this. And, that was helpful, you know, kept my mind busy and it definitely like made me feel better, you know? And then when I got hired, well, COVID hit and everything just like shit the bed, but I got hired right in the summer of COVID. So it kind of like boosted me to getting there, you know. It was
Mhm.
not a fucking fun time, but you know, it still isn't sometimes, but it is like, I don't know, something to be said about like, you never know what you're going to get every day. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like,
Mhm.
I don't know. Now enough about me.
We're interviewing you. That's the point
Yeah.
of all this.
So-
Oh.
And so, for the poll for our community interaction segment, which is spoilers, they are now in spoiler territory. So we did our favorite non-POV characters for round 4. I tried to keep it like with Styrian characters, but then I realized that a lot of Styrian characters just don't have that much screen time. So I decided to go ahead and just throw Brother Longfoot in there for a bit of chaos. I'm still pretty happy though with what turned out. I figured Vatari was going to win. Excuse me. But Brother Longfoot did way better than I expected. I mean, I love Brother Longfoot. I just didn't expect him to, you know, just be that good, that popular. There was a lot of comments, people saying, "Oh, he's so great. I love seeing him on screen, even if he is kind of annoying," which is hilarious. So thank you for the people who voted. I'm sorry for those who listen on Instagram and Twitter. We have been lacking in posting the polls there. To be honest, it's a little harder with POV characters because that means we're going to have to cut 2 characters and there's already a lot of characters to go through. But down to the details, we got about 400 votes, and Vitari won with 222 votes, which of course she's in so many parts of the story, and she is pretty hilarious, even with Pacey's accent. Although I did find it interesting, there are multiple people in here saying Vitari's accent was like annoying, which is interesting. I never thought of it that way. Like, I never thought her accent was annoying. It's very distinct, and yes, it can be grating. And I always did imagine her having a little bit more of an attractive accent, but at the same time, it's more like she kind of looks okay, and then every other aspect about her is just like grating and blunt, and brutal. But still, I understand why Vitari won. I expected her to win. That's this whole poll, this section, the Asteria section, quote unquote, is for Vitari, really. Grand Duke Orso did surprisingly well. I didn't think he was going to get any votes. I thought he'd get like one or so, maybe two. I thought Vitari and Brother Longfoot would get them all, really. Grand Duke Orso got 30 votes. Day got 50 votes, which I like Day, but I didn't expect her to get third place. I thought that was going to go to Duke Orso. Well, actually, no, that's not right. I actually did think that Day was going to do pretty good. But Day is pretty fun to have around. Her eating habits are like the only kind of character that eats food. I feel like not many other characters even eat food. Everyone else is just doing other things or drinking or something. Grand Duke Rogan got 8 votes, which I would suspect that's why he's last. I mean, he doesn't have as much screen time as the other people, not as much depth. Other than his peeing fetish, which, I mean, we all have our own thing, I guess, but it is a little gross. Brother Longfoot, 77 votes, second place. Bam, baby. I can't believe I almost forgot about him when I first put up the poll. But how can you not like Brother Longfoot? He adds so much hilariosity to Before the Hanged, along with Ladislaw. Those two people... and honestly, Brother Longfoot in the Blade itself, too, is hilarious. Just his introduction. He's like some guy who you think is going to be so wise and you understand the way the world works. And he kind of does, but also he's kind of a little prick. And then Malthus, or, you know, Pacey always says Malthus. It kind of sounds like, but his name is Malthus. But Malthus got 11 votes, which I was surprised he got any as well. I thought he was going to be down there, which he is, I guess. Down below where Grand Duke Rogan is, but his character is consistently bland and kind of scared, and like he's kind of like that boss who you have who is like the company man. He's just like tired of living and just working his job, but also he doesn't want to die, and this is what he's always done, so it's fine. I like that. I've always liked Malthus. But that's our poll. Our community interaction segment. In terms of comments, I really like what people said about Vitari. Somebody was sharing some Shank theories. I know the boys would be really happy to see all of the comments on our own. Sorry we didn't respond as much this week. George moved, and work's been crazy for me. So, but there was some cool stuff, interactions between people. Some people were talking about the Shank theories. Some people were talking about, you know, how annoying Brother Longfoot was, why Vitari is so interesting. Somebody compared her to like an NPC being smart. She's like the NPC who's like a companion, but also she's got her own shit going on the whole time. And that's why I think she has a chance at winning the championship. So next week we'll do round 5, and then the week after that we'll do round 6, and then there'll be the maybe I'll do semifinals if there's gonna be more, because there might be more, maybe one more. We'll see. It should be fun though. But back to the guest spot with SerSpaceman. Bye. As the interview comes to a close, George, do you have anything you want to ask Will? Now that we've finally got him on air.
I think we've covered a lot of stuff today. I think that's good.
Jeff?
I have one more question.
Ooh.
Will, say I have a gun to your head, right?
Oh no.
And we're talking We're talking a big one. Magnum 44. Right to your feet,
Oh.
right to your dome.
Well, I just shit my pants and pissed my pants and cried, and now you just canoed the back of my head.
All right.
I'm
I
just
didn't even
kidding.
get
Go
to
ahead.
the question. I didn't even get to the
I
question
know.
yet. Pull your pants back.
It's
Jesus
like
Christ.
Glockta. It's like Glockta when he's like, "Why are they crying already?" I haven't even started to ask the questions. Like, I don't get it.
It's a two-parter. It's a two-parter.
Go for it.
Would you rather? How would you want the First Law series to be adapted? Either film or TV series. And the second part is
Or anime.
Harrison. We're adults here. Come on, get over it.
No, bro, are you
Who
serious?
invited this? Who invited
Are you
this?
serious?
Yeah, who invited the Gen Z kid over?
Yeah. Get over there, Zoomer. Get over there, Zoomer.
Listen here for a minute. How else are they gonna show the inner monologue of a character, which is the greatest part of Joe Abercrombie's part of work?
He's got a
character?
point.
I'll tell you right now. You break the fourth wall. You ever seen House of Cards?
What? It's just gonna be a fucking joke
So
series?
Glockta literally turns and looks
I'll
at the
tell
camera.
Yeah, but you gotta do. But you can't do it in the same exact way it's done in the books. Obviously,
Damn it, Jeff! I don't like how hostile you've been lately.
First of all,
Oh my god!
you came on here angry
This
at
is
me.
like that. This is like that dinner table scene. This is just.
Hey, shut the fuck up, Will. All right. The parents are talking. All right.
Well,
never
go to the
mind.
hospital right now.
Never mind.
Never mind. Sorry, Dad.
Okay, let me start with part two. Part two. I'll tell you how they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it like David Lynch's Dune. Tell you that much.
You said
That's-
David Lynch.
Yeah, they're not doing it. They're not going to do the inner monologues like David Lynch's Dune, where they like zoom in on a character's face and they're like, "Perhaps he is the Kwisatz Haderach." Like, don't no, we're not doing that. No,
You mean David Fincher?
No, it's David Lynch.
David Lynch made Dune.
Oh, you talking about Dune? I was talking. Never mind. I
Yeah,
was talking about
Dune.
something else. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I was talking about something else, but okay.
Yeah, with
yeah.
with
I'll
Kyle MacLachlan and fucking all those other Sting is in it. Sting is in that Dune.
Right. I'll be honest with
something.
you. I did not see that Dune. I have.
That's
not
fine. Yeah,
I knew
that's
them.
fine. You can keep yourself.
Oh,
Yeah, you're good.
I felt
Um,
insane in that. Well, continue, please.
Yeah. TV. I think a show would be.
TV. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that. God, I don't know. Lord of the Rings was done in a way that I think set the bar for fantasy adaptations, right? Like, I know people that complain about it. They're like, "Oh, where's Tom Bombadil?" I'm like, shut the fuck up about Tom Bombadil. Can you imagine if Tom Bombadil comes out and he's like, "Hi, Derry ho, Derry, hey, Derry ho, where is my wife Goldberry?" And I'd be like, and she comes out of the water and she's like, "Hello, husband." Like, no fucking way.
It'd be
No.
pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah, no, I think TV could do it because there's so many like story beats where you could end an episode, right? Like I could just see like especially like not Blade
Nothing's
itself necessarily.
changed.
Yeah, not Blade itself. I think Blade itself is gonna suffer being adapted. I think
I
it's
don't know. There's a few moments, right?
Well,
Whenever he
there's a
fucking
few
blows
moments.
everybody up, and he's like, "Nothing's changed."
Yep, there's a few moments.
I have an idea, but I want you to finish, Will. I want you to finish.
Let me keep my milk in the bucket for a second.
Go for it.
So, no, I just, I don't know. Part of me like doesn't even want to see it adapted either, but I do. Like, I want the media to be out there because I'll tell you what,
Mhm.
even though Amazon had a tough time developing the first season of Wheel of Time, which I do not want to get into because I don't think you guys are Wheel of Time people, right?
No, not really.
No.
Yeah, so I don't want to touch that. But let's just say that Amazon, there were a few things that were like out of Amazon's control and choices that they like adaptation choices that they made that like some worked, some didn't. And I think a lot of people were bullshit over a lot of the choices. And I'm not. I'm just happy to see fucking Wheel of Time on TV.
That's how I feel about Rings of Power, bro.
So Rings of Power. Rings of Power is much better than the Amazon Wheel of Time series. There, I said it. There's going to be people that are mad. It is. I think it is.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do too. I do too. Okay?
I think you have to like.
Thank you.
There was one part. I watched the 5th episode yesterday, and there was one part. I guess I watched it Friday. I don't even know. Days melt together. I guess I watched it yesterday. There was one part that like genuinely made me smile, and I was like, you know what? That's more than Wheel of Time did.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it was a fucking song for me, dude. When they started singing that song and they were traveling across.
Nope, I hated that so much.
You did? You did?
I
It
don't
was a
love.
song for me.
Me and my buddy talked about this on the phone. Shout out to Chris again. Me and my buddy talked about this on the phone on Friday. We don't love the hobbits in this.
I don't love the Hobbits either, but
Fucking
that's
Lenny Henry,
The
man.
song was fun. Okay, the song was
wait.
fun. Harrison, I'm not trying to rain on your parade. The song was fun.
damn it.
Song-
Well,
Wait. I'm just confused. This is literally just a dumb question from a Shubi, okay? Because I've only literally just watched Lord of the Ring movies. Are the Harfoots not different than the Hobbits?
They are the progenitors of some of the hobbits that live in the Shire.
What the holy shit?
Because
Okay,
they were apparently, I've never read the Silmarillion. I've read Wikipedia, and I have not. But apparently, the hobbits were nomadic at one point, and then there's like 3 tribes of them, and they migrated to the different. There's like the Shire hobbits, there's the Store hobbits, and there's like the Bree hobbits, right? Like there's the people that live on the river, there's the people that live like closer to the big people, which is like the Bree people, and then there's the Shire hobbits and like hobbits. Those are the Harfoots. I think the Harfoots settle in the Shire.
Mhm.
In their like,
you know what, Will?
Yes.
You know what we're gonna have to do, right? We're gonna have to just sit down and just fucking on a night like a Saturday night. We're gonna have to get on and just fucking get wasted, play games, and talk about random shit.
this sounds like a great idea.
This is good. This is
Because
good.
we knew that we were gonna get along with you, but I do feel not to pressure anybody that we are getting off topic.
Right,
Yeah, look, just
Right,
a little.
sorry. Back
You're
to
right.
the question at hand. It
Yes.
was, do you think TV series works better? Correct.
I think TV series works better because of the story beats.
Interesting. Okay.
I agree. Yeah.
And so, okay, Harrison agrees. George, do you agree?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think if they tried to do films, it would just not work.
Okay.
You know, we're talking 2 hours for each book. You'd lose so much.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd lose a ton.
Well, do you want to know my opinion?
I do. I
No.
really do.
Oh,
Wow, I see where you're going.
Oh,
George,
sure.
you want to take this road trip down to the Americas? You very nice. Honestly, I think for the first trilogy, movies, right? For the first trilogy, movies, just because again,
Ah, fuck that shit.
chill out, Harrison. Let me explain. There's not a lot of plot. Even the plot that does like pick up in the second and third book, it's not a lot of it. A lot of it.
yeah.
So everything is
Okay.
characterization.
I know what you're
Wait,
saying,
wait,
Jeff.
I'm not done. I'm not done.
Okay.
Right?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let him
First-
speak.
So
Let
yeah,
him speak.
thank you. So first 3 books, first 3 movies, right? You can make them 2.5 hours, and I feel like you get a lot done in 2.5 hours. A lot of Marvel movies are done in 2 and 45 minutes, 2 hours and 45 minutes, and this still makes no sense. And I think a very good director can do that well. Then I think Best Served Cold is done in one season. Maybe 8 episodes, 10 episodes, whatever. Maybe each episode is a chapter of like, maybe the first one's like, when Monza gets thrown off and all that jazz. And then each episode is like a whole hour
Different
long.
city.
Different city, yes. Then I think the Heroes should be a 3-part miniseries. Each episode is a day of the battle. Then I think the Red Country should be, I love Western, so fuck it, Western movie. But then I did like Godless series, so whatever. And then Age of Madness, a lot is packed into it, so that one I'm still struggling with. But that was my general premise so far.
Okay,
It might be
Jeff.
my-
Okay, Jeff.
Okay.
Here's my counter argument to that.
Okay, I mean it's wrong, but go ahead, Adeptus. You're old.
We'll say that. We'll say that it's not going to be an anime series, right? In anime, we get to see what's going on in people's heads. But as a TV series like Game of Thrones or something, right? The reason why I don't think the original trilogy should be a movie is because let's look at House of the Dragon. That's like a 25-page. That's like one chapter in a book. Done. And look how much they've drawn out. Look how much character and how many things they've drawn out. I think that first log could easily get away with setting up. Think about this. Set up the first Lost series. The first book is 1 season. You have 10 hours of content. You have it ending in them fighting the practicals as the quote-unquote final battle. And that you feel completely different than the way you did at the beginning. You don't know if Logan's actually that good of a guy. You don't know if Baez is actually a friendly wizard. You're not sure where Farrah fits in the story, and you're not really quite sure if Giselle becomes a good person. That's first season. Second season, before they hanged. You get the war in the north, you get them traveling across the continent. Third season, you get them fighting. Now, here's the thing. Here's the difference. Fourth season, you introduce Monskara Makato as a completely different character in the distance. Her fighting with 1,000 swords with Benna. Season 5, you have it a part of the series where Mazda basically breaks away and has our whole little fucking side plot. But at the same time, you have Logan in Red Country.
Ooh.
Making a family at the same time.
So it's like all concurrent and like running alongside each
it's all
other.
done concurrent.
But
And then you have it sprinkled into the whole entire series. You have fucking Chev and Javro fucking dicking around the whole time.
Pretty funny.
Oh my god. But my point, what I'm trying to say is that like you can't have that concurrent. And second, like the thing is like the books, the first 3 books, like we can all agree, right? Characterization is the strongest part of those books, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much you can get out of that. That like right now, we know from House of Dragons is what 5 episodes, 6 episodes. We don't know if it's actually going to be good. I got tricked. Okay, I follow Game of Thrones, the HBO series from the beginning, and I was tricked after season 4. Fuck that. I'm not falling for it again. Okay, I'm just not doing it.
All right, hey,
All right,
no,
all right,
bro.
I'm not
Hey,
doing it.
come
I'm
on.
not doing it.
Take
there's
it easy, man. Take it easy.
Take it easy, sweetheart.
All I'm saying is that I think just because that a lot of the plot in the first 3 books is a lot of like setup and like everything's character driven, that the first 3 books you can do those movies, and like you're not gonna turn away the audience. You're not gonna have them waiting like, okay, what's gonna happen next? Like we get it. Logan's this person, Glock does this person, Baez is kind of confusing, but okay. Giselle's a prick in the beginning. Like I feel like movies it gets it across in a more seamless fashion. That's my opinion.
Oh, I don't want to be part of this argument anymore. I'm scared. No, I'm just kidding. I think you have good points. The only problem, Jeff, I'm not picking on you. The only problem with moving from movies to series like midway through your continuity is like I'm not keeping up with the Marvel series. Like I literally do not have time to do it. And like when it was like a movie every like couple months, like I could go to the movies as like a thing. But like right now it's just like an oversaturation. And it's like I don't have Disney Plus. I don't feel like getting Disney Plus again. I had it as like a promo, and then I was like, you know what? There's nothing on here that I fucking need to watch. And then I'm like missing all the Marvel shit, and I'm like, oh well, I don't know. I don't know, like that transition from like, well, we're gonna put the movies in theaters and then we're gonna release on a streaming service. Like, and that's not to say like HBO Max they could make movies or something, right? Like they could do them as a trilogy of movies that they release digitally instead of in theaters, right? Or they could do both. And then the series is on HBO Max. It doesn't move anywhere. It's just not released in theaters. And it's like, you could do that. Like there's a lot of things that could be done. And I know like, I don't know, like I know Sanderson's in talks with Hollywood trying to get like adaptations for Mistborn and Stormlight off the ground. I'd like bet my bottom dollar that Joe Abercrombie has talked to. He has, right? Like he has talked to people about this.
Way, yeah.
And I agree. And here's my point. Like you talk about the oversaturation. Like for example, you said with Marvel and Disney Plus, from 2008, right? They just been pumping out things. So we're talking about 14 years. What is that?
Yeah, yeah.
But we're not talking about that level of saturation. And
no, you're right. You're right.
Commercialization. Whereas, like, if you're doing 3 movies, you have a couple series, and then because Abercrombie, like, how long is he gonna keep writing for Saul? We don't know that.
Right.
So that's what I mean. Where I'm like, I feel like the format of like whatever the visual medium is should work to serve the story that's told best.
Yeah.
Sure.
Instead
I think
of
I was
drawing everything out in series. Because like,
Yeah.
like, if you think about it, all right, Lord of the Rings came out what 2001, 2002, whatever, 2003, and that was like what couple, all right, let's say maybe 2 decades ago, maybe if you're old like me, right? But then Rings of Power comes on, and that's on Amazon, and people have their thoughts about it. I have my thoughts about it, whatever. But that's a different medium, but it's still on film.
Don't forget the Hobbit trilogy.
Though, oh right,
Forget the Hobbit trilogy. I'm fine with you. Forget it. Forget that ever happened.
yeah.
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. I really did not.
Yeah. No, I
Not a big fan.
I agree, but do you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah.
see any reason why you can't deviate from certain formats. That's
Yeah,
all.
I was more. I wasn't as much like on the saturation end. I was more on like the switching from the movie release to like the streaming service release, like that, like and losing people there, like because you would release. Yeah, that was more my angle. Like I wasn't worried about like we're gonna have like a Marvel Cinematic Universe of First Law. You fucking imagine.
Yeah.
But no, that was more. I get what you're saying, but I think I just hashed it out of my head. Like you could digitally release movies on this, and then just make the show on the same streaming service as the movies that you're releasing. Like the same. I don't know. I think HBO would do a really good job of First Law.
Yeah, honestly,
yeah.
It has to be. I think it would have to be.
HBO's the only one I honestly would choose.
Yeah.
I like The
It would
Witcher.
have to be.
I do like The Witcher. I do, and so maybe Netflix can
George.
do justice, but like I'm not so sure. Like I don't know. Amazon. I don't know what's going on Amazon. Like the Rings of Power it's like it's kind of
It's pretty-
slow for me.
So
like,
it's good, but it's also different than the fucking here. So I am just gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, and we can talk more after we stop it here.
absolutely.
But the only thing I want to say here is, either way, if we get a series in the First Law, it's gonna be fucking awesome, and it would be awesome to see aspects that we didn't see previously. Because obviously the books leave things out, like
Right.
the time gaps and, what kind of relationships people have with each other. So it'd be very cool to see that. So I just kind of want to round off with that.
Okay. Well, we thank you, Will, aka
Oh,
SerSpaceman. We appreciate you having, taking the time to come out here and do an episode with us. We really do appreciate it. And the fact that you're our first guest speaker, interviewee, what you want to call it, we really do appreciate it, right?
it was the biggest pleasure, and I have never been on a podcast before, so I was incredibly excited and nervous and jittery. And now I'm just leaning back in my chair, drinking my beer, chilling. But no, thank you guys so much. Like I was so excited when I got that message. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be awesome.
Oh.
This is gonna be."
We hope you had a good time, man.
Yeah,
I
it was
did. I had a fucking
enjoyed it.
great time.
Great, awesome.
Churlish Grambungle, Roadhouse Swayze, Baba Bool, Bremer Gorst, XLRIV48, and I'm missing somebody. Fuck. Nope, that's it. We lost Angle Killer somewhere in translation. But thank you guys so much for helping me run this shit show of a page. And this community would not exist without those people that I have mentioned. They are my absolute go-tos for all things First Law, and even just chatting drunk in the closed council chat that we have between us at like midnight on Sunday nights. It's really fun. So thank you guys.
All right. Well, everyone, that's our show. And we want to thank you for listening and supporting this podcast, especially this special guest episode with SerSpaceman, a.k.a. Will, Lord of the House of the Meme Maker subreddit. As you all know, this is a passion project for the three of us, and your support does mean a lot to us, and I hope you know that.
And join us next week as we do a special guest episode again with the Bloody Niner, who's going to talk about the future of the First Law series. Thank you all for listening.
Make sure to follow Circle of the World podcast on their social medias at Reddit, Instagram, TikTok, And go check out the Circle of the World podcast website, which is brand new.
If you haven't already, like Will said, please subscribe to us on whatever podcast app you like to use, you know, whatever floats your boat. And please make sure to rate and review, as this helps us spread our reach, as you know. Thank you all again for listening.